There are 6 guiding principles that the Founding Fathers had when they wrote the Constitution. The first one is limited government. I've talked about this a lot, and we can see it in the original documents when they wrote back and forth to each other. They were always seeking limited government. They saw government as something that would be necessary, but would also be a great evil if the force that is allowed to be used in government is applied against the citizens. And so they've seen throughout time, which has always been the case in history, you're probably most at risk from your own government, ending your life early than just about anything else. So, what our Founding Fathers wanted was limited government. That is one of the foundational principles, and you need to keep that in mind when people talk about expanding the government. That was never the intent of our Founding Fathers. It was always to be small and to be limited. Okay? Number 2 there, guiding principle was something called popular sovereignty. What this means is power to the people. A sovereign is someone who is in charge of themselves, and popular, that's the people. So the people have the power. They're the ones who are in charge of the government, and they're the ones who can remove officials from the government by voting them out. And if the government gets out of control, they can disband the government and start again. It is the people's power to do so. It is also the people's responsibility to do so. Okay? Number 3 there, rule of law. No one is above the law, and everyone is equal under the law. The law is to be applied in a logical fashion. It is to be applied with reason and purpose behind it. It is not to be capricious, up to someone's whims. They feel like this, now they feel like that. It's not about feelings. It's about a rigid structure. This is the law, and it is applied to everyone equally, and all are subject to it. Okay? Number 4 there, separation of powers. We have separated our national government into 3 different entities: the President, the Congress, and the Supreme Court. We'll see later these are known as the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. So our national government has been separated into 3 different parts. And as I said before, the purpose behind this is inefficiency. Our Founding Fathers really wanted this to happen so that if any group got too much power, say the President, the Congress and the courts would simply join forces and gang up on him. And if Congress got too much power, the President and the Supreme Courts would join forces and gang up on him. And so you have the government always in this standoff where they can never gain power because there's always other entities that are just as greedy and just as power hungry as any one of the groups, and they're seeking to take them down all the time. So our Founding Fathers actually wanted our national government to fight itself most of the time. That's why they argue and bicker and fight, and they're so inefficient, and that's a good thing. Okay? Number 5 there, federalism. If it wasn't enough that our national government was divided into 3 entities, what we also did is we divided our government between the national government. A lot of people call it the federal government, although that's a misnomer. It's our national government and our states governing themselves. And so this is called federalism. Anytime you have a division that's above and below like this, then that is called a federal type of government. And that is where the national government has certain things they have to do, the state government gets certain things they get to do, and then sometimes the 2 will cross over and work together on certain issues. Okay? So that is federalism. All right, 6th one, independent judiciary. Our judiciary, specifically the Supreme Court, is supposed to be independent of all the political fighting. Ideally, you would have the President and the Congress fighting each other the most, and then the Supreme Court is kind of like a referee, that's out of line, foul on you, that's out of line, foul on you. And they're sort of supposed to be above it all. As we're finding, they have struggled mightily with this. For the past 100 years or so, they've done a pretty good job. There's been some back and forth there, but really recently, I would say the last 10 years, maybe 15 or 20, the Supreme Court has become a political entity. And so both the Congress and the President have lobbied hard to make the Supreme Court sort of their own plaything. So we're going to see that in the next one, all right? But these are the 6 guiding principles to the Constitution. And you probably need to know those for an essay question on the test. All right?